good to be in Cannes, though.
Great to be in Canada.
All right.
How are you
Good to see
doing?
you, man.
Good
I'm
to
good.
see you.
Doing
Good to
great.
see you. Should we introduce ourselves
Let's do
first?
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am Simon. I'm co-founder and CCO of Significant marketing strategy company.
All right. I'm Adam. I lead our small and medium business teams at Salesforce, as well as our emerging products. And I think we're going to talk a little B2B marketing
Exactly.
in the AI era.
Exactly. So, I mean, I mean, I'd be remiss not to ask you first, like, you're on the forefront of all of this stuff happening. You're also have this really wonderful job where you get to kind of look a little under the hood and see what's happening. What are you seeing out there with respect to all that stuff?
Yeah. I think that we're still in a hype cycle, obviously, but I probably at Cannes last year, though I wasn't here, when I think about the timing, we were in like the extreme hype cycle, but the limited output part of some of this execution. And while there were some great companies starting to build their wares, and certainly we at Salesforce were building a lot of our agentic products and they were getting pretty good. What I feel here today is like we're in a world where this technology is really realized and it's starting to have a huge impact. And it's something that, marketers, go-to-market leaders, companies, both need to figure out how to harness and build some governance around executing. But, I spent time today with so many different companies doing unique things with AI and marketing, like Jasper, who's doing incredible things with campaign orchestration and talking about how they're integrating with Claude.
That's awesome.
I met with Mr. Beast and they were talking about how they're automating a lot of the things they're doing with their execution. What I think has happened is, we've been gathering all this data for a long time, and now the opportunity to bring data together and drive personalization is better than it's ever been. And here come these tools that can now start to automate a lot of that execution and send the exact perfect thing to the right person at the right time. But the downside of that is like when it goes wrong and it's AI slop and it's
exactly.
We're sort of in that moment now where it's really about execution.
Well, I was curious to ask you that about you touched on it just there. I feel like I'm interviewing you, and I know
it's okay. We're talking. I'll ask you some questions.
Okay, good. When it goes right, what are they doing right? And when it goes wrong, what are the things that maybe they're missing or that they're just not taking full advantage of?
Well, look, I think that, we have a lot of customers using a bunch of our tools. Like we have this great web agent Qualified. It's a company we acquired. And if you're a marketer and somebody's hitting the website, the agent does an incredible job of sort of qualifying and taking the lead through a funnel. And those deployments go really well. You're solving for what's optimal for your customers.
Yeah.
And I think that's true of any of these AI deployments. I think the downside risk is you've talked a lot of you get like a science experiment of like Gen AI, trappings.
Yeah.
And the ones that work really well, you're doing what humans do best around the engagement and the context. And the AI is creating the right moment for the right customer at the right time. And it's really a productive engine. So, but I turn that question on you. I mean, your world has changed. You were at a firm before, and now you're really doing a lot of brand strategy.
Yeah.
You've turned into almost like an AI consultant in a lot of ways.
I mean, it's because I think what we've started to see is exactly what I've seen from my side. And that's why I asked the question is that, it really comes down to now with all this firepower, where like what direction are you going to point it in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't have your strategy figured out of how you want to show up, what you want to do, especially in B2B, where because you can do so much now, you have the opportunity to do so much that looks exactly the same as everyone else's.
Yeah.
And that pile of kind of like, maybe not slop, but definitely just sort of like that mid-level mire of everyone kind of feels and looks the same.
Yeah.
Just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger when this stuff isn't kind of pointed in the right direction. Because I think with all of this stuff, you have this incredible opportunity now with the right strategy to really create something that allows you to differentiate around so many channels. User experience, customer experience, all that sort of stuff is now like flying on all this stuff because of all the agentic stuff that you've been talking back.
That's right. And again, optimally, I'm getting this incredibly rich content with a ton of context about me from somebody I'm doing business with. And it's rooted in a really sophisticated understanding of the data, and then automation that allows, especially in B2B, a human to come in and really help me execute on the backs of what the AI is driving, whether it's, lead gen, lead qualification. Totally. But I'd love to know what you're seeing from your customers around data, because I think that's ultimately the game. We were saying 10 years ago, you can't have a great Salesforce deployment without good data. In the AI world, there's even more pressure on really great data.
I think people are finally coming to that realization in a way that they should have a lot longer ago with some of our, with a lot of companies that are out there right now, which is that they're now seeing the opportunity of what they can do with the right strategy and AI But then sometimes the data is actually kind of lacking. So
Yeah.
like, I mean, I know you guys have been the kings of like banging this drum
Yeah.
forever,
Yeah.
but the AI sort of, whatever you want to call it, the AI sort of moment now is, it's a data moment
It
for
is.
all intents
Yeah.
and purposes. You know
Yeah,
what I
and we
mean?
see, we have our data 360 platform, often
Yeah.
used as a CDP, but many just use it to align their data and action it from
Yeah,
Snowflake and other platforms. The customers that have those kinds of structures built out, and many of our customers now, as you know, they're using Salesforce really headless.
Yeah.
They're accessing it, via maybe Claude apps, or in my case, it's a lot of Slack. A lot of
Yeah.
our customers are using Slack as kind of the control layer for Salesforce. And then when they have that data really squared away and all the context piled in, you can build agents so
I know.
fast now.
I
We're
know.
talking like,
Yeah. It's crazy.
a couple hours with an FTE, and all of a sudden you've got an agent that can take on a fulsome process.
Yeah.
And so if I was giving anybody advice out there, I would say, take a hard look at your structures, your data connections, and then optimize for platforms that can build good governance for these agents to go execute. I definitely think we have one. I'm biased.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I mean, on top of that too, though, like there's another funny thing happening right now too, is like as more agents enter kind of like the internet, inevitably more internet traffic becomes agentic.
Yeah.
This is from your company, but I think they said something like 51% of all data or traffic right now is non-human.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is digital. And so that creates this other little interesting wrinkle, right? Which is you need to find a way to not just be efficient for humans and stand out for humans, but you need to find a way to differentiate so that these agents are picking up on who you are and what you do that stands, that stands out from the rest of the crowd.
A lot of folks I met with at the Salesforce speech this morning were thinking about AEO.
Yeah.
Right. And if we were here 2 years ago,
such a big thing.
we would have been talking AdWords,
Yeah.
and we would have been talking about maximizing SEO,
Yeah.
SEM. And that game is definitely changing. And I think we've probably, the numbers may not say this yet, but I think we've kind of crossed the threshold. I think
agree.
that the conduit to looking up a B2B product is probably going to be some kind of AI agent.
I agree.
The game for content and execution.
When you start to try to figure out something now, what's your like just on a human level?
Yeah.
This doesn't even to be related to B2B. How often are you going to a chatbot, or sorry, not chatbot? How often are you going to AI versus going on Google and searching it? Because I generally now every time
I'm locked into Claude
Same.
or ChatGPT. I mean, in my case, I use Slackbot for a lot of
Right,
searches
yeah.
where I'm pulling things in. Little plug for Slackbot, but no, I think that's right for many in there.
Yeah.
And is that sort of generation, that next generation shifts in that grew up on chat,
Yeah.
and that's been their experience. I mean, AEO is going to be the way for marketers, and it's a totally different ballgame.
Totally.
The way those algorithms are firing, your content strategy will be tested, your
Yeah.
expertise will be tested, your brand position will be tested.
Well, that's the thing is we found that generally speaking, the people who succeed on it, there's kind of two things about them. One, they're differentiated, and two, they're really unified in their messaging.
Yeah.
The people who stand out, and again, I wish I could tell you I knew exactly how these LLMs work and stuff like that. Sadly, I don't. And they seem to pick up on trends that are consistent and differentiating, right?
Yeah,
So
I think you got to flex your expertise. I think you got to
Exactly.
flex your thought leadership and your strength of position. I think there's a lot of leaning on brand evangelists
It's
that
building-
can elevate your brand
exactly.
and your ethos.
Yeah.
And I think those things have always been true.
Yeah.
You could buy your way into the SEM game and the
I know.
SEO game a little easier. And
Way
now,
easier.
And now we're in an interesting spot where
Yeah.
I think, again, a lot of these agentic tools that we're talking about on the front end for marketers for campaign orchestration and engagement with customers, it's only going to help them down that journey.
Absolutely.
So you have a ton more possibilities. Your reach is extended infinitely. A lot of the complexity in building systems has been taken out, but you got to be really thoughtful about the experience and the data structure for your
totally.
customers.
Yeah. And that's sort of kind of like all coming together right now in such an interesting way. And I think that's why, again, the thing we keep seeing is that if you have, it's one thing to have data, it's massively important.
Yeah.
Then having the right AI tools to kind of ensure you do it. And this is double down for the B2B space. But then on top of that, making sure you have, to your point, a strategy that makes you always kind of feel differentiated and interesting.
Yeah.
It almost sort of, if you have those three things together, they just work in such an incredible harmony.
So it's hot in cans.
It's
Right.
very hot.
We're
under
let's
we're under the hot sun.
let's lead off the field with this one. If you could, a company trying to start their AI B2B marketing journey, if you could tell them one thing to do today to start tranching down that path, what would it be?
I mean, I'm biased, but I'd say figure out who you are first.
Okay.
Because before anything else, you need to figure out who you are. Because the second all of those things turn on, and you let's assume they're collecting the right data and stuff like that, you need to know what direction you're headed in. Because if it's going in the wrong direction, it's going in that wrong direction very quickly.
Yeah.
I imagine you're gonna have a different answer.
Well, a little bit. I think the current environment motivates experimentation a little more. I think if you have a good vendor, they're going to bring people in that are experts. They're going to bring in forward deployed engineers,
Yeah.
FDEs, especially on the technology side, and they're going to build this stuff out for you. I think that's
Yeah.
what we're doing for our customers. And those FDEs can get to production pretty quickly. But definitely the caveat to that is if your data's a mess,
No, I know.
the output's going to be
Exactly.
tricky. So
yeah.
anyway,
It's crazy.
what do you think? Did we do it?
Did we do the thing? Did we do the thing?
Awesome.
Thumbs up.
We
We
won?
did the thing.
Oh,
We
good.
won.
Great to see you, man.
Hey, great to see you
All
too.
right.